this isn't one of those typical, fucking I'm gonna share some info type deal situations here. This is one of those things where I'm just like lost in thought, and I realize I haven't told everybody like what the actual plans are. I know it's kind of easy to think that because my upload times have become so sporadic that maybe I'm like kind of falling off. Or I just don't want to do it anymore. And I try to keep it to where I don't really upload unless it's something I really want to talk about, and I'm not going to try and push anything unless it's something I think is important. But I guess this is kind of one of those things because we're getting closer to that point to talk about anyway. That it's kind of compounded with something I was thinking about just now in the shower. And one of my biggest regrets ever, and I don't say this too often because every time somebody talks about, oh, I wish I could change this in the past, I'm like, I've always been the guy to say never. There's never anything I wish I could change. I'm at the happiest point in my life that I've ever been right now, and each day only gets better. Even when I'm not doing as well as I'd like to be, like financially or something like that, I'd still like overall my life is as good as it's ever been every day. But there's one thing that I wish I could have changed, and hindsight, it's 50, or was it 2020? Hindsight's 2020, perfect vision when you're looking in the past. And at the time, I didn't realize it. Honestly, it's been years, and I didn't even think about it. My RSX, the RSX I had, I didn't appreciate that car as much as I should have. I guess at the time when I initially got it, I kind of played with the idea on YouTube about like doing things to it and shit. But eventually, I got away from that, and I decided to let it go. I wound up trading it out for a car that I didn't even drive. And that car I wound up trading for another car that was a piece of shit that I sold for like $500. Looking back at it now, or looking at it now, what happened was it triggered these thoughts. Was I was at James Moore's place a couple weeks ago, like a week and a half ago now, earlier this month, and I got to see his supercharged it's almost an Integra. His supercharged RSX, it is, for all intents and purposes, it really is like the last real Integra. But I got to see his supercharged RSX up close, and it looks really nice. I love the car. I didn't hate the car when I had it. I liked it, but I didn't appreciate it enough to keep it, and I wish I had at the time. Because right now I'm kind of in a rut, like with dealing with finishing up the last little bit of problems that keep popping up on the S2000 while I'm getting ready to get that tuned, and then also thinking about the Type R and what I might do with that, and like potentially building it. But the cost of the Type R right now doesn't equal VHP's income. The last 2 years, I kind of got cocky. I did. I let it get to my head, the income. I was like, well, I figured that even if VHP Engines falls off from what it's making now, I have to make at least half of what I'm making now. Like, so last year, VHP Engines made like 40 grand. I figured that even if I took a 50% cut, $20,000 extra in 1 year, that's plenty of stuff to do projects with. And it would have been. It would genuinely have been. But this year, as we are moving into August, so we're getting close to the third quarter of the year. Or was it? Yeah, we're in it already. I don't know. Anyway, as we're getting closer to the later parts of the year, I've only made like 12,000 from some VHP Engines, so it didn't fall off by like 50%. It fell off by like 75%, and that's very noticeable. It was a very noticeable cut. Now I'm back on the point where I'm living, just based off. All my bills are paid. All the little things that me and the family like to do, we can still do those things. It's just I can't do anything extra on the car side. I just have to manage that a lot better, which is why everything with the S2000 has been slowed down to a snail's pace in the past few months because I just don't have the excess income anymore. So I was looking at the RSX, and I'm like, this would have been the perfect car to build and advertise, engines off of, because at the end of the day, K series is pretty much all I'm doing now. The odd D series every once in a while, the odd B series every once in a while, but K series is the majority of the work I do. And so I bought the S2000 thinking it was going to be an advertising showcase. We're like a year and a half into me owning the car, and I've not been able to use it. And it was a running driving car. It was on its last legs when I got it, but it was still running driving. So in theory, I should have been able to get this turned around relatively easy, and it's just not has been. And it's like just little failures here and there that's been causing me problems. Again, the engine's healthy. Obviously, it's fresh, but everything else is not. So I'm just dealing with the bugs of the chassis itself and the harness and stuff like that. So yeah, it's the RSX would have been a car that's K car that was easily swappable. I could have just pulled out, put a new one in, dynoed it, pulled out, put a new one in, dynoed it, sold those engines because I could have verified they're making power and then get rid of them and fuel if you use that to pay for the next swap or whatnot. And it's just, and I don't have that car anymore, and I'm not in a situation where I can, I guess if I really wanted to, I could spend a couple $1,000s and get another RSX, I guess. But the problem is I'm also running out of space in my house to park it. And space in my house has also been one of my biggest issues. I live on an incline. I only have one section of flat yard, and it's alongside the road, and it's about a car's width, and that's it. I have an Armada that still needs suspension work, and I haven't registered yet. I think the Trans is on its way out, to be honest. So I have an Armada, I have the Type R, I have my wife's Cadillac, I have the S2000, and I have my Integra, which I refuse to let go. So even if I wanted to go out and buy another RSX right now, I don't 100% know if it would be a good idea, because even though I technically could still park it, even if I have all my cars registered, I don't know how many would be too much before the city would start complaining or thinking that there's like 30 people living in my house when it's just me and my wife and my 2 kids. I just like cars. So that led me to a frustrating situation about a week or so back when the S2000 kind of took a shit on me again, and I was frustrated, and I'm like, the biggest problem is that I don't have a place where I can just set this car and comfortably work on it to find things. I'm like 99.9% sure that my map sensor being unplugged is what caused my car to bog out and lose power the way it did. Talking to one of my old tuners, he's saying absolutely that could be the problem. Again, the car's been, even though it's on a base map, it's somewhat, the programming is different from what this original is from Honda. So it's gonna perform more sensitively when when critical things are unplugged. So, but the fact is, if I would have been able to have a garage or even like a flat driveway away from the street that I could have pulled my car into, then I could have popped the hood, took my time, gone over everything, and probably found it a lot quicker than what I did now. And also the work would have been done. If I had a garage, I could have gotten things done a lot faster. Like the calipers would have been swapped out already and shit like that, because I could have been able to work at night in peace where it's not too hot and not for everybody to see and not surrounded by bugs. I got to the point where I'm like, yeah, we got to get the fuck out of here. For those of you that are close to me or talk to me regularly, you know that I've talked about going to Orlando a lot. So now I'm at the point where I'm about to pull the trigger. The move was offered to me when I went through the whole situation in my raise and / potential promotion in the company I'm working for. Orlando came up as a topic because we're opening up a new shop there soon, and supposedly, I'm getting one of my first cracks at being, promoted to a supervisor there. But I don't think I want to wait long enough for this place to open. Fortunately, I know everybody in the chain of command in my company all the way up to the director of operations. Like when I went to go quit, I was offered a huge pay raise for other companies. Literally everybody in my chain of command got involved to talk to me to get me a raise that was going to be suitable enough to get me to stay and talk about my potential future in Orlando. So I did talk to one of the service managers up there, and I think that we can work out something for me to go earlier than expected. So now it's so officially I'm going to be going to Orlando sometime next year, whether it's in the beginning of the year or in the summertime. I don't know yet, but next year for sure. My house is a big limiting factor for me doing the things that I need to do, that I want to do here, guys. There's a lot of things I could be doing for YouTube. I don't necessarily really want to be building engines on camera anymore. I don't care about doing that so much anymore, but I wouldn't mind doing projects along the same lines of what James does, where he's constantly doing things with new cars and getting, showing stuff like that. And plus it save me a lot of money, because again, I'm not in a place where I can pull engines, so I have to pay somebody to do that. And the prices I'm paying are ridiculous. So I want to do that myself. And so I guess the deciding factor is going to be like, if we're going to get a rent increase this year, how much it's going to be. Like, we're on a good relationship with our landlord, so I don't think they're going to like fuck us over or anything. But if they insist on going a couple $100s in the hike, then for sure I'm out of here. I'm not going to renew the lease. If they're not going to crazy rate the price, then I'm going to talk to them, and we're going to see if we can't do like a short-term lease and just leave in the summertime once the kids finish this upcoming school year. But for sure I'm going to go. So I guess I'm really saying that I do want to get another K car. An RSX is to be expected in the future. Again, I would definitely like to get another RSX. And eventually, sometime next year, I'm going to be moving to a bigger house. What the plan is to rent for a year, and then while I'm renting, look for a house to buy, and then like be a forever home. And then so hopefully YouTube is going to be a snail's pace for a while until I can get the S2000 finished. And then I guess I'll probably do a bunch of stuff there for a little while, and then it'll fall off again. until I can get to a place where it's more permanent for me to start doing projects again. Because like I said, building engines on fucking camera, you do it a couple times and it's kind of boring after that. At least when you're doing different projects with cars, you know, the outcome is always going to be a little bit different. So would like to see that happen in the near future. And if I keep the S2000, I would imagine that I'm going to do some experimentations with that as well. If I keep the S2000 long term and I don't sell the car, then I would imagine, not imagine, I know that there's a K-swap down the line in the future. That would be it would just make the car a lot more, you know, a lot more user friendly as far as to do upgrades with and shit. Because the F20, the F22 and the F20C are just really expensive engines, and they're finicky, and it'd just be a lot easier for me to do a K-swap on it. It'd probably be expensive up front to do everything, but then after it's done, like it'd be stupid cheap to just replace the engines. And then then the potential of seeing like an 800 horsepower S2000, 1000 horsepower S2000 that's potentially there in the future. Just have to see how things go. But anyway, guys, like I said, I haven't been posting on a regular, and I guess I'm more active on Instagram than anywhere, and even Instagram has slowed down because I don't have much to work on. So I just wanted to, guys, to you guys, your, you know, the 100 or so of you that are watching on a regular, to give you just an update on what's happening, what the plans are, where things are going to be, and the fact that I'm not gone. It's just going to take a little bit of time because, you know, we are, despite whatever Sleepy Joe wants to say, like, we are in a recession right now. People, you know, just don't want to spend money. And I understand it. I understand why they wouldn't want to spend money right now on car parts. But then again, you know, this isn't, you know, VHP isn't my full-time job. This isn't what I've 100% committed to. And despite the fact that I got arrogant enough to think that the money was going to stay somewhat the same with VHP engines, at least I never got arrogant enough to let it get to my head to think I should quit my fucking job. So because I didn't do that, I'm still nowhere near peak income I can make from my actual 9-to-5 job, and I'm still enjoying doing it. And I like the people I work with. So the potential for me to keep making money is there. And even if VHP engines never gets back to what it was in those couple years prior, my own personal income will increase enough through my regular job that eventually it'll become disposable income again to start doing things with cars some more. And I would imagine that once I get some of these cars up and running and I start selling that shit like that, it'll make things easier to sell engines or whatnot. And then because I think one of the things that needs to get me over the hump is it's great that I'm able to sell, you know, through, you know, YouTube or whatnot, and sell throughout the country or whatnot. But I do need a local presence. Like it's weird. Normally you make a local presence and then you go national, but I did kind of reverse. I kind of did national presence without a local foundation. And at the end of the day, the local customers are, you know, they're the roots. That's what you need to keep a steady income in. And I never did that. And it's because I don't like dealing with people here. I don't like trying to fucking convince people that I can do what I say I can do, which is why I needed an advertisement car. So hopefully that will change with the S2000. I'll be able to use that for local advertising. And then that'll fix the income issue. And then you can see more things on VHP engines. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Like I said, I know this wasn't like a informational video like normal. It's more like a vlog than anything. So I appreciate you spending your time to listen to what I had to say. And I'm going to be here for years to come and hope to do more crazy shit. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and peace.